Welcome to Greece, everybody. Let's do some fantasy novel research.
That's right, I'm in Athens for a week, but not just for fun or to eat my way around town. I have come for this place, the Meteora Monasteries. And who'd have thought?
Apparently, the filmmakers of Game of Thrones came here to do location scouting.
But why didn't they film here? And will this work for my story?
I needed a place where immortals would build their own monastery.
Well, sit back, click full screen, and let's find out together. But before we dive deep into our fantasy book research, let's take a few seconds to get you acclimatized with the place. The month is June, the weather is hot and dry, and the city of Athens is packed to the rafters with tourists ready to explore the birthplace of democracy, get lost in cobbled alleys, and enjoy all the culinary delights Athens has to offer. I didn't want to waste any time, and so before I even went to see the Acropolis, I put on my best dress and set out on my adventure as soon as I'd arrived in this bustling metropolis. A term which, by the way, literally originated right here, meaning Mother City. It's a 4-hour drive from Athens to the monasteries, and I was going to visit 3 of them. But silly me didn't quite connect the dots. It turns out visiting hilltop monasteries includes an awful lot of, well, uphill. Meteora was built in the 14th century by Orthodox Christian monks who sought spiritual isolation and protection from political turmoil, choosing these towering rock pillars to be closer to God and away from worldly distractions. In Greek, meteora means suspended in air or in the heavens above.
Okay, the first of 3 monasteries today is checked. The verdict: I am hot, the views are amazing, the people were very unfriendly. I hope it gets better with the next monastery. Yeah, this is a workout, even going down. It's hard on the knees. I'm not 20 anymore.
I had done a lot of online research about the place beforehand, but ultimately decided that I needed to come here in person. However, not for the reason you might think.
So my story does have elements from the past, but it is mainly set in the present day. And what I was initially worried about this location is if it was going to be too touristy, too busy, because this is the second most visited tourist attraction in Greece right after the Acropolis. But I found out now that there's only certain monasteries that tourists can visit, and I can already see that these mountains here are vast, and there could be so many like hidden locations. So I'm really glad that I came. I can totally make this work.
Of course, real-life places have long inspired fantasy authors. The Scottish Highlands inspired Diana Gabaldon's Outlander series. The Bavarian Neuschwanstein was the inspiration behind Disney's Sleeping Beauty. It comes as no surprise to me that I'm not the first one considering Meteora for the setting of their fantasy world.
So apparently I'm in quite good company here, wanting to set my fantasy story within these mountains. Apparently the filmmakers of Game of Thrones came here to do location scouting. They wanted to set the sky prison where Tyrion Lannister gets imprisoned here, but eventually they were refused because of the violence in the show. A fun fact.
Okay, so the bit about the violence is what my guide told me on the day. However, I couldn't actually confirm this fact later. The real reason seems to have been bureaucratic red tape and environmental protection. HBO simply could not get the permits from UNESCO and Greek authorities to film at this protected World Heritage Site. Instead, they used digital effects to recreate Meteora's stunning monasteries for the eerie scenes. I suppose that's the great thing about writing a book versus filming a TV show. There are no outside limits or regulations that could ever put the brakes on my imagination. And I just realized that I still haven't told you exactly why I just had to see these famous monasteries for myself. So here it goes.
So I'm writing an urban fantasy novel. That means it's set in this world, but it's got fantasy aspects, speculative aspects to it. And so in my world, there are two magical beings or magical humans. There are the witches, and then there are the druids, and the druids are immortals. And so I needed a place where the immortals would build their own monastery, because I think it's only logical that if you live forever, eventually you'd get quite tired of it and you'd naturally turn towards spirituality, towards God, towards nature, towards solitude. And so I researched monasteries, and this one came up, and I thought it was perfect for it. And so in book 3 of my witchy fantasy trilogy, my two witch sisters who have to restore magic and Mother Nature and end an ancient oligarchy needs to come here to uncover a massive secret in order to solve the plot. And I think this is going to be perfect. So obviously I'm not going to build on like Orthodox Christianity. I'm going to sort of form my own religion that just happens to be in a setting like this.
So, am I going to do it? Am I going to set book 3 here? You bet I will. But while I'm so glad that I came to Meteora during my visit, in the back of my mind something else slowly but surely started to take hold.
I can't help but thinking as I'm in these tourist destinations how completely odd us modern humans are. Look at me with my selfie stick filming myself. We're all going to the same destinations to take the same photos with the same practiced smile. Like, it's all become about the experience. It's all about in showing where we've been and what we've done. And as I'm here at these monasteries, I can't help but wonder, like, what's next? When we're done with this, experiencing and documenting our lives like this, are we all gonna find spirituality? Are we all gonna find back to nature, find back to peace and calm? Are we always gonna be over it? I don't know. Also with AI probably stealing all of our jobs. I wonder. Anyway, this is the end of my Meteora research trip. Thank you so much for coming along. I have a lot more reading to do. In a way, this visit today has raised more questions than it has given me answers. But that's the great and the important thing about research. You know, you don't know what you do not know. And the more questions you ask, the better the book is going to be in the end. So yeah, I'm gonna head back to Athens, and this is not the end of my Greece trip. I'm gonna do the Acropolis, and I'm also going to go on a full-on food tour around Athens. I'm gonna try all the different cafes and restaurants that I've researched. So make sure to subscribe so you can see the next episode. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time.